Okay. Okay.
Hello. So we're here. I have Fran here with me. And Fran, I have to explain how I met you because I think it's a
Okay.
really pretty funny story. Not funny, but funny. So I used to date your daughter
Yes.
when I was 16 years old. Like, I think it was like, yeah, I was that young. And so we've known each other since I'm 16. I'm 33 now. So how many, do the math. I don't know how many years that is. I have no idea, but a lot of years we've known each other. And
17.
17, thank you. I'm really good at math. So I dated your daughter. She was my first girlfriend. And that was how I met you. And I remember, like, you have 4 children, 2 of which I was close with, John and Danielle. Danielle introduced me to Alicia, who I dated. And I remember when I first was going to meet you, Danielle was telling me like, oh, my mother's into like all this witchy shit and like ghosts and whatever. And I was like, what the fuck do you mean? And she's like,
were you scared?
I was at first. Yeah. I'm like, is she gonna like hex, like what's going on? Ghosts and shit. So I started dating Alicia. And I remember meeting you, and I definitely remember immediately like hitting it off with you. But you guys were like moving, and then you moved to Arizona, and like they stayed here for a little bit. And I just remember I was at like a crossroads. I just come out of the closet because nobody, like, to my family, nobody knew until I started dating Alicia. And I was like, hey, I got a girlfriend. Here I am. So I was like in transition there, and I grew up Catholic and never resonated with the Catholic religion or any organized religion, just because of what people,
I get it.
how people are.
Yep.
And I remember the first time visiting in Arizona was really the first time that you and I really like connected. And we would go outside for cigarettes. I mean, you obviously remember, but we would go outside for cigarettes and just sit outside for like 2 hours. I don't even know where Alicia was the entire time. And like you and I would sit outside and just talk for hours about religion. You introduced me to, basically, you put me on this path that I'm on right now, like spirituality and intuition and all meditation, everything. Like I truly, and I say this in other podcast episodes, I wouldn't be here if I had never met you. Like,
oh, don't say that. No, you would. You're gonna make me teary-eyed. Don't go there.
But I genuinely feel that way because you were the one who opened my eyes to like there's other things out there than what you were brought into, the religion you were forced into.
Yeah.
And you really opened my mind to things. I remember you giving me my first meditation CD. Like back then it was CDs.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
You were the first person to do that. Tarot readings, like you were the first person to read my tarot card, like just everything. You introduced me to the law of attraction, The Secret. It all goes back to you. And I've mentioned you before, but now to have you on is like pretty dope to me. So yeah, you were like technically my first like spiritual mentor, definitely. So okay, so that,
the weird thing is though,
yeah,
like you took to it, like you did, you absorbed every conversation, you absorbed. My children, oh my, come on, you know what I mean, like they do that shit, but you did. So you were because everything is divine timing, and you were ready. You needed that foundation of just being, and you were open to it, and you ran with it, honey.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? You ran.
Well, I remember the first I don't remember what we talked about, but I just remember how I felt after talking to you, like for the first time that we actually sat down. I'm like, oh my God, like it took a lot of fear out of me. It took a lot of like, because I had literally the fear of God in me, like I'm going to hell and, all of this stuff. And talking to you really, I was just excited that there's another
point of view.
Yeah, yeah. Another point of view, another
Yeah.
path. And it
Yeah, and
felt
I
right.
knew that though, because I felt that off you.
Yeah,
And that nothing breaks my heart more than that, than people who are taught, if you're not like me, you're not good enough.
yeah,
That shit I can't handle, especially in young people. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, and I knew it. I literally felt it off you, and I knew we were supposed to sit outside smoking cigarettes for 3 hours talking about all this crap. You know what I mean? I knew it, but you did. Like I said, you did. You like absorbed it. I saw the little light bulbs go off. Um, yeah. It's
and they
so
did. They went off.
good times.
It was good times, and like it's kind of like a full circle moment, like because we've known each other, we've remained like okay, yeah, within the last how many years? 17 years.
Yeah.
I can't, within the last 17 years that we've known each other, of course, life has happened. We've gone a year, 2 years, whatever, without speaking, but we've always found our way back. And I think that also is like fucking incredible. Like to me, it just feels like we were, don't get me wrong, I loved your daughter when we were dating, and I like truly did. And I felt an affinity, like I felt very connected to your entire family, but it was always like, you and I don't know if we knew each other in a fucking past life or
Could have been.
I don't know. I don't know what it is because we.
But I find it weird too how, like you said, we could go like a very long time, not even text message, a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, and then all of a sudden, like I'll text you, like you've been popping in my head, and you're like, holy shit, I've been thinking about you. So I like everything that's happening now is meant to happen. It's just we were both being pushed to this, me because of the whole, I don't want to be on camera kind of thing.
Which, by the way, I'm very proud of you. This is big.
Yeah. So is Danny, because this is huge for me because this is not my thing. But yeah, it's really interesting when you take a step back and you look at how we did meet, everything that transpired, then how we, went our separate ways for a while, and then we hooked back up and started connecting again, and here we are now. It's just like I love shit like this.
Yeah, so
I do. I love how things work out.
Yeah, yeah, and it's I think it's just a funny story. It's like, oh, how do you know Fran? I dated her daughter, but like, but it's also incredible, and like I think a testament to how genuinely connected I always felt to you, because we've always found our way back to like,
yes,
even if it was just throughout the years, like happy birthday or happy
Merry Christmas or whatever.
Yeah, right. And you basically, like, I've mentioned you before in previous shows. Like I don't think I mentioned you? Not by name, but like when people ask me, like, oh, what got you into this stuff? It always goes back to you. I'm always like, oh, I dated a girl in high school and her mother was into all this stuff. And, she blew my fucking mind with like, she read me for filth, like, and read my life. And I was like, holy shit, it is real,
Right. I know. It's, I've had those moments too. And I like the one moment I would say when I was, I was already into all this stuff, and you do get moments where you're like, okay, I know you're there, but you're not listening to me. You don't hear me. I'm still stuck in shit and my life still sucks. And I remember I was so angry one day, and I just took like anything metaphysical, threw it in a box and shoved it in my closet. And I remember I was taking Alicia and Danny to that store. Oh God, Rainbow, was it?
Oh
Off
shit.
of Sunrise Highway, that little clothes store.
Yeah.
And it was in March. So I purposely said this, and I said to them, I was like, okay, if this shit's real, I want to see 9 million butterflies. Show me 9 million butterflies, like very cocky, because it was March.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So show me 9 million butterflies. So we go into the store. Danny wanted to go to that store. We go in there, and they're shopping, and they take clothes into the dressing room. I'm standing outside the dressing room. And this little girl, maybe 12, comes out with a shirt on. 10. She's like, excuse me, ma'am. She's like, does this look okay? And she was young and it was a little too revealing, I think, for, so I just said to her, I was like, well, honey, it's a pretty shirt, had a butterfly on it, but I didn't notice it at the time. I said, but I think you're a little young for that, I don't know if your mom would like that. So she went back in the dressing room. Danny and Alicia come out. Now I am literally not paying attention. It's how oblivious I am. Standing in the middle of a store and they're like, I can't find anything. I can't find anything. And I think it was Danny. It was one of them said to me, everything's got butterflies on it. And I looked at her. I was like, what? She's like, Mom, look. Like they had up by the ceiling, those racks with all the clothes hanging.
Yeah.
Everything they had on there, jeans, shirts, all were covered in butterflies. And I just stood there and I was like, holy shit, I'm sorry. Okay, you're real. I'm sorry.
Yes.
But thank you, because I needed it in a huge way.
Yeah. And sometimes.
Yeah.
No, you go.
It when you ask, you do get it. You may not get it the way you want. I, in my head, was like, okay, I want to see butterflies flying around in my yard or whatever. But there were butterflies on every freaking piece of clothing, every piece of clothing in that store. And I was just like literally blown away.
There was your 9 million butterflies.
Yeah. So there I went, like tail between my legs, take all my stuff out of the closet, got my crystals back out,
You're like, oh, all right.
Sorry.
God damn it. I asked not too long ago, about a year ago, I asked the universe if a specific girl was right for me. I was like, please, I want to sign within this time frame.
Yeah.
And I don't want to miss it. Like, make it, beware, by the way, anybody out there ask, this, but anybody out there playing with this stuff, beware when you ask for a sign that you don't want to miss, because you won't miss it. So I was like, just, if she's for me, give me a sign that I can't miss. If she's not for me, give me a sign that I can't miss. I pull into my school parking lot and I'm not a shitty driver at all. I pull into like an idiot. Somebody was parked hovering the line at the parking line, and I thought I could clear it. Well, I didn't. And when I pulled in, I hit that bumper and I was like, well played, universe. All right, I guess she's not for me.
Yeah, no, it's true though. You do have to be careful.
Yeah.
I know a lot of times, like when people would say, oh, I just asked the universe, give me patience. And I'd be like, no, no, because what they're going to do is going to put you in a situation where you have the opportunity to show patience. You don't ask shit like that.
Right.
You just, because you literally get what you ask for.
Yes.
You just do. That's just how it is. And you do have to be careful. But I love though, even the ones that weren't so positive, like all the signs and, how could you not? How could you not?
I mean, you look at it in hindsight and you're like, I get, if you're open to it, you're like,
yes.
Okay, I get why that had to happen, and a lot of people think that they can ask the universe for shit and it's just gonna like in the Hunger Games, it's gonna drop from the sky and just show up.
Yeah.
It's lessons. You got to learn the lessons,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You taught me that too. You also taught me the fucking one of the biggest things you taught me was, well, you fucking taught me so much, but one of the big things that sticks out in my head that you taught me is when the universe hand is trying to show you your shit, if you're not paying attention, first it'll throw a pebble, then it'll throw a rock, then it's gonna throw a fucking boulder.
Yeah.
And anytime I've been thrown a boulder, I'm like, yeah, Fran said this was gonna happen.
And I think we've all had the boulders,
Yeah.
We've all had boulder moments where we just, our human side, just, it's our ego, I guess, just doesn't want to. It's like, I want what I want.
Yeah.
Even though we know they know better.
Right.
We still push it.
It's the truth. Would you consider yourself, you're a medium, right?
Yeah. I'm not, well, see, I find it hard to even say that because I'm not like a John Edwards or whatever. I can't, like, he'll have people around him and then people just start coming. I can't make it happen. It just happens. They come to me whenever, and I don't know if it's because I haven't really tried. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I just kind of go with the flow, and when it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I'm sure if I got my brain quiet and got into that, that space, I'm sure I could just call on people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's different for me. I don't know. I don't know why I don't. I think it kind of scares me too
I
a
was
little
just
bit.
about to say that.
And it's not that the other side scares me whatsoever. I'm more comfortable with them than I am with humans. You know what I mean? It's just even ghosts, I'm more comfortable with them than humans. But I think the whole thing of being seen as a medium,
Yeah.
scares me, I
Well,
guess.
once, I don't know if you have this too, and you've been doing this for way longer than I have, but like once you start developing your intuition and you start giving people readings and you're pretty spot on with them, do you notice that like for every farting thing, people come to you for like, Fran, what does this mean? Fran, but, and like that as a medium too, when you start channeling, because I've also channeled people's dead relatives by accident. And when you start going there, they're constantly like, people constantly flock,
And they want info.
Yeah, they want, yeah.
I think, I love like when it is happening, I absolutely love it. It literally fills my soul. There's just something about that, about just knowing that, yeah, we keep going on. Yeah, they're still here, and just feeling their energy, and then giving that person who's suffering like a little bit of peace,
Yeah.
whatever they get from it. Yeah, I do. I love that. I think more than anything. I
Yeah.
do.
It's,
I don't. Well, see, this is my see, now the info's coming. So thank you, Miss Tori, because now you're helping me. So basically my problem is, yeah, I don't want to be like known, I guess. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, but wouldn't you say, when the student becomes the teacher,
Go ahead, teach,
wouldn't
woman.
you say though that fear
Mm,
is like ego based, because that's where fear comes from, right?
mhm.
So like I feel
For a
like,
previous lifetime.
yes, yeah, something like that, like karma or something where, I mean, I have it too, like I have with my tarot, I don't think I'm good enough yet to like do live.
No, and I keep telling you, you are.
Right. So, and we're both, it's so funny.
Yeah.
We're both like, I'm like, come on. And you're like, come on.
So maybe that's why this is happening.
Right.
Because you need to know that you are an excellent reader.
Thank you. And
Because you are. You flipped for me
Thank
many times.
Oh my God, I know, I was so scared.
But you were spot on though, every time. Every time you were spot on.
I'm getting nervous just thinking about it right now.
What?
But
See?
you too, though. People need to know who
Yeah.
you are. I think, personally.
Okay. Well, I know that I am being pushed. And I don't, I don't want the lesson to come the hard way. So I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the flow of whatever the universe sets up because I know I'm being pushed.
Yeah.
And I know, and the funny thing is, because I've had readings with, other psychics and mediums and stuff, and they will say to me, why are you doing mediumship? Like, why are you doing readings for people? I don't know. I don't know.
You've been, throughout the last 17 years that I've known you, you've been so every fucking time you've been spot on. Just like from when my grandmother was in the hospital. I remember one time you did a reading, and then another friend was dying, and you're like, you did a reading, and then like my own anxieties, I've come to you, and you've always, it's just always been like, it's always been an validation for me too, because anytime I question my faith, I'm like, yeah, but that time that Fran said that thing and she was right, that can't be a fucking coincidence. You know what I mean? But
you're so good for my ego right now. You have no idea.
what I'm
loving this shit.
That's what I'm here for. That's funny. But no, you are. You're good at it.
And I love it. I literally love it. Like now I'm working from home. I type scripts on the computer, which is, I don't want to be whiny about it because I'm very fortunate. I work from home. I could even like split up my hours, work 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours at night if I want. I have a lot of flexibility. So I shouldn't be whiny about it. Do I whine about it? Yeah, I do. I do. Because it doesn't fill my soul.
Yes.
It's a paycheck. It doesn't fill my soul.
Yep.
And at this point in life, you really think that I should be at the point of, because I know how shit works.
Yeah.
Just step out of the comfort zone, just do what I love, the finances will follow. I'll always be taken care of. And I do believe that. I believe I'll always be taken care of. I just got to step out of my comfort zone. So this is my big step here, just so you know.
Like
I took my first big step with you.
Yes. Again, it's full circle.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm proud of you, seriously.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And you know what, you're right about that too. Like in my own experience, I left a job that was like severely debilitating, anxiety stricken. And I left with no plan. And I was just like, this is not how I want to live life. And I have to get the fuck out of here. And it was at the like the cost of having to hear my family, basically like berate me a little bit. Like, are you stupid? You had benefits, you had this. I had everything lined up, and I was like, it doesn't do it for me. And I've been just pushing through for years and years and years. And now I'm finally at a place where I'm like, oh, I'm doing this full time. Like here I am, and I just leaned into what I loved. And even for me now, it's still hard. Like society tells you got to do a certain thing,
Everybody does.
Right. And I think for you, like I said, you taught me so much that there's so much to talk about. Like you could literally get on and just on a video, on a podcast, whatever it is.
I do have a lot of stories now that, I'm thinking that because we've had like a lot of, even my kids have seen like that Lindenhurst house. There was a lot of shit going on in that house.
I know. I remember
there was a lot.
Alicia wasn't necessarily a believer, but I remember her telling me a story.
I'll tell you, every one of my children have it. Every one of them do. Danny embraces it full-heartedly.
Yeah. I feel like she always did.
She always did. But I really believe she was definitely like a witch in another life.
Oh, hell yeah.
Absolutely. I have a picture of her. It was, I think it was like the second grade Halloween parade. You know how Daniel Street used to do the Halloween parade with all the little kids? And she was dressed as a witch. And I have a picture of her. She was so happy. She was like literally glowing, this kid. So, but yeah, they all have it. They don't all embrace it.
Right.
Yeah. Which is fine because I think a lot of shit that happened in that house scared them when they were younger. It just did. That's why now, like with Evie, which God bless her mother, that kid sees something or, like she woke up in the middle of the night one time crying and Mariella went into her bedroom and Evie was crying and she asked her, she's like, baby, what's wrong? And she's like, he's scary or something like that. And Mariella was like, oh, who? And she said, the man by the door. And Mariella was like, oh, there's somebody by the door. And she's like, yeah. She's like, well, you just tell him to go. This is your room. Instead of it's a
Oh,
bad dream, you're not really seeing it. You know what I mean? So,
that's a good thing to tell, because
yes.
as like I used to be afraid of it too, and now I'm just like, use me. But like when you do that, I'm like, I'm your bitch. Just do it. Give it to me. But you see weird shit.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
now when I see or feel dark shit, you taught me this. You don't belong here. Get out, leave, and they like have to listen. So for her to tell your granddaughter that,
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's
Yes.
her embracing it too.
Yep.
Because I feel like
Yeah.
there's a stigma behind all of this stuff.
Well, if you think about it, I know definitely when I was younger. And oh, actually, I think I may ask you to flip on this for me.
Ooh, I got you.
When I was younger, okay, so I was raised, Catholic. Uh, God, hell, devil, all the whole thing.
Yeah.
And there were nights where I would wake up in the middle of the night and be literally paralyzed with fear because I knew something was there. It was a weird, and my mother would get so mad at me because I would run into her room. And I'd be like, I have to sleep in here. I have to sleep in here. And she's like, go back to bed. There's nothing in your room, And I'm like, no, there's somebody in my room. There's somebody in my room. And I don't know why this is coming up now, but this is so weird because I haven't thought about this for years. But I never knew what it was. I don't know who it was or what it was, but I mean, literally paralyzed with fear, to the point where there were some nights where I was so scared, I would literally pull the covers over my head and I would ask God to just take me because I couldn't handle the fear. It was like, okay, I'll just take me, God, just take me now. Yeah. So I don't know what that was about.
You were probably feeling shit. Because now that you're saying it, I'm remembering like, oh shit, I've slept like as a child. Like that's how I used to like, because I was just afraid.
I'm wondering though if it was something negative or if it was just, my guides or somebody from the other side. And because you were taught that all that stuff was,
The devil.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you thought you were a bad kid. It was like, oh, Satan's here to punish me.
Yeah.
Because I definitely thought I was a bad kid. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh shit, Satan's here to punish me. So that's probably what it was.
We're taught to fear it. We're taught to, and I think there's a reason for that too, like why the churches do that, because that's stepping into your power. So you're powerless when you're full of fear, and you're leaning into that. And so
you rely on somebody else for guidance when you're scared.
Yeah.
So it's, no, all that crap. And and it's funny because we were forced to go to church, like all little Catholic kids were. And I remember sitting there and I never was comfortable. But I remember when I would look, we would go to, oh my God, what was that church? Our Lady of Grace.
Yep.
That church. And Jesus was on the cross, right? They had that big cross with Jesus on it. And I would sit there and I would look at him. And to him, I had a connection with him.
Okay, keep going.
But I couldn't even tell you what the priest was talking about because I never paid attention to it. But I would just sit there and look at him. Yeah. And I would, as a little kid, I'd be thinking, okay, but so why did they hurt him? Why did they do that to him? And then there was the statue of Mother Mary.
Yeah.
And it would be like, okay, so why did she let them do that to him? Like I had all these questions that you never got. You were never told, you never got them. It was just like, oh yeah, Mary was pregnated, not having sex. Jesus died for our sins. So,
yeah, that's basically.
Go to church, take the sacrament, and go to confession, which was another thing which terrified me as a kid.
Yeah, and
how do you do that to children? I mean, come on, you're in this little dark box,
right? And you have to tell some stranger that you said goddamn one
Yeah,
too many
I used to
times.
make shit up because if you didn't do anything, and this is like how screwed up the whole system is to me anyway. I would go in there, I would make shit up, because I hated that little dark box and then him sliding the thing over and,
Yeah.
yeah, I hated that whole thing. So I'd make shit up and he'd say, okay, go say, 2 Hail Marys, whatever. And I would come out and I would kneel down. And this is, I guess I was twisted. I would like watch to see how long somebody was praying when they came out of the confessional
And then
to
you're
see
like,
like how bad they were. Like, wow, they had to do some nasty shit,
Yeah,
because
did
they've
you-
been sitting there a while.
10 Hail Marys? Holy shit.
Yeah, I hated that whole thing. I literally hated that. I thought that was horrible to do to kids. But yeah, my mother was diehard Catholic, and I also remember when I was 18, I worked at a catering hall. We had a Catholic wedding on Good Friday.
Oh God.
And this was, I was already, I wasn't going to church anymore, but I was still in that whole, don't eat meat on Friday, that whole, I literally was still, did that stuff I was programmed to do. Still believed, God, devil, you go to hell with you, whatever. And the priest got up there because they were serving prime rib for dinner. And he got up to the microphone. And this is what he was like, I just want to tell everybody that I know it's Good Friday, but I prayed and it's good. You're good to eat meat today. And I remember thinking, all right, so I was always raised, it's a sin. You don't eat meat on Friday. You just don't do it. So how did he just make it okay if God said it's a rule? You know what I mean? Like if God said, no, don't do this, how does this man get up there and say, oh, don't worry about it.
Right.
Enjoy.
It's that hierarchy. And that was for me with the Catholic. And I want to circle back because I do want to say you specifically do work with like the entity, Jesus Christ. Like you've done healing work.
No, I've never said that to anybody, like very few people, Tori, but okay.
My bad.
Out of your comfort zone, Fran. Push it right over the line.
Oops. But like you do
Yes.
you have that connection
Yes.
with,
Always have.
you
Yeah.
always. And like I don't know if it's my relationship with the Catholic Church. I have more of an affinity for some reason with Archangel Michael. Like that's my boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I don't know if Jesus is the deity, would you say? I don't even know. That's like, I don't know if that's one of your guides or whatever, but he's there. I know he's there with you.
I don't know if he's I've never even thought about him as being one of my guides but I do remember because when we were in Lindenhurst, I used to religiously meditate every day after work. It was 30 minutes, would tell the kids, look, unless somebody's throwing up or bleeding, do not knock on that door. I did it religiously every day. And then it was so weird because he just started coming into my meditations. And the very first time, like I'm in, meditating and he's just like right there. And I'm like, okay, this has got to be me.
Like,
got to be me. Yeah. And it was like every day he would come in. And the way I knew that it wasn't me is because I've never felt that kind of love ever in my life. And I don't think you can in the human body, probably. To me, that's what it feels like on the other side. It has to be. Because it's just, I literally got addicted to the meditations with him.
Because of the feeling.
Yeah. It was just something you can't even like put it into words.
Yeah.
But once I got to the point of, and it was weird because I didn't tell anybody. And I had a friend who was psychic and she's like, are you keeping something from me? And I'm like, no. She's like, no, I think you are.
You can't fool a psychic.
I'm like, no, I'm really not. She's like, no, Fran, I just keep getting this little nudge that something's going on. And I was like, okay, I'm not crazy. I don't want you to think I'm crazy. And I told her, and she was like, oh my God, I think that's awesome. I'm like, well, it's Jesus. It's like, it's Jesus. She's like, yeah, and your point. And I did in the meditations, I had said to him that, like, why me? Like there ain't nothing special about me. Like, why me? And he was like, why not you? And at that moment is when I realized, because we're all taught, right? Jesus is up on the pedestal. Mother Mary's up on the pedestal. Like everybody's up there and out of reach. And when you get rid of that I'm not good enough for them to come to,
they come.
Yeah.
I think I've blocked him out a little bit because I have a lot of animosity toward the Catholic Church and like,
which he has nothing to do with.
Right. And that's exactly the point that I'm trying to bring forth, is that like the Catholic Church and the organized religion, you can be against that and still understand that these beings exist in spirit. And it needs, I think personally, it needs to be separated, because I think the Catholic Church
absolutely
does no good for for spirituality at its core. Because they do teach you, like Jesus, you worship Jesus, you have to fall at his feet, when really, he's
not like that. His energy is just, he's funny, he's like so down to earth. The closest portrayal of Jesus, I would say, that I've seen is in that, have you ever seen that movie, The Shack?
No. The John
It's
Steinbeck.
kind of a brutal movie.
Mm.
His daughter gets murdered, and he's angry at God and everything, and God sends him like a little note to go meet him at the shack where his daughter was murdered, basically. And Jesus is there, and he does meet God. It's a beautiful movie. It's really, I mean, you need tissues for it. But that portrayal of Jesus is the closest, I think, to reality, so yeah, he's not completely different. And I remember in my meditation asking him if it was the way it was, like in the movie Passions of the Christ, that brutal scene.
Yeah.
And he said it was very close, but why do people fixate on that part of my life?
I just got
when that was a very short part of his life.
Yeah. Right. And
very short.
Yes. And I think, again, a lot of the true mysticism and spirituality and like what we really should be focusing on gets lost with the Bible per se, because the Bible's a man-made thing.
Yeah.
And also religion, organized religion as a whole, which is a man-made thing, it's been kind of skewed. And so again, like I've seen I remember I saw Archangel Gabriel, like literally right there. And I remember texting you. We probably hadn't even spoken in years. And I'm like, Fran, I need to talk to you. I haven't spoken. Hi, how you doing? I hope everything's been great. But like, you're the only person I know that would have an answer for this. I perceived what I saw as a woman.
I perceived Gabriel as a woman also.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And like, I never even, all I had heard from you was Archangel Michael. And I never Googled what Archangel Michael even looked like. So I didn't even know this character existed. And I wake up one day and she was right there, like bright as ever, just like doing what, like, like, hey, everything's gonna be all right. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I remember texting you. I don't know if you remember this. And I'm like, okay, so boom, I saw this thing and this is what it looks like. I described her. I'm like, it was a woman. She looked just like this and like was dressed like this. And you're like, that's Archangel Gabriel. I'm like, isn't that a dude? And you're like, well, some people perceive sometimes in some religions, because they're all connected, right?
Yes.
there's just different names and whatever. In some practices, Archangel Gabriel is neither. Archangel Gabriel is both. Archangel Gabriel is a woman, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I Googled, you're like, Google a picture. And I Google Archangel Gabriel. I'm like, that's what I saw. And I'm like, for me to see that, I had, again, I'm still angry at the Catholic Church and things like that. So I had turned completely away from the Catholic Church and anything having to do with it. For that to come to me, I didn't ask for that. You know what I mean? That was one of my confirmation moments. Like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't ask for it. I didn't know who this thing was, what it meant. And I say it to say, like, the two are separate, but you can, it's nothing against your beliefs. It's really against the organized religion behind those beliefs, if that makes sense.
Now, if everybody like wasn't raised in any organized religion, it would be normal place to see Archangel Gabriel at the foot of your bed. It would be normal to see Jesus in a meditation. It would, it would just be the norm. It would be normal to speak to your loved ones from the other side. It would be normal to heal someone with your hands. All of it would just be normal, which is why, my mother, she always used to say that church just gave her a sense of peace, that's fine. That, if that's where you need to go to find your peace, I'm not going to say don't do it. But, and even my mother, I really think she was psychic, but she was raised Catholic also. So, it wasn't called that. It was called, what'd she say? I could read people.
Yeah.
She wasn't psychic, but she could just get a feel for people when she met them. Okay, whatever.
That's intuition, but all right.
We'll call it what you want. So, so I understand that, like my mother, but she didn't know another way because she was raised that that's the only place you can get your peace, or you can, so if that stuff wasn't around, we would all still be able to find our peace in our meditation, in our singing, our writing, whatever it is, because we've all got something. Because I don't think meditation is, like it doesn't have to be that way, although I do it that way sometimes. For me, it could be refinishing furniture. It's like your brain gets in the zone, or cleaning, it's just when your brain is in that zone of you're not thinking about anything, that's when you're connected. That's when you get your information, and it could be anything. And I just think it's a shame that for eons, people have been taught, no, you have to go to church to feel this or whatever, or for God to, which is another one, for God to love you. You got to come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Right. And a lot of the times I think the church separates us from God. And I don't know if it was this, I'm not sure if you might have taught me this too, that we all have God within us. We are created in his image.
Yes.
We have those capabilities.
Yes.
But the church kind of separates us from that. Almost, to me, it's, a means of control, because we all are gifted.
Yes.
Again, you taught me that too. We're all psychic. We all have the ability to be that.
Yes.
But we're taught to turn away from it. And in essence, we're taught to turn away from ourselves and who we truly are on a soul level. And
hate anybody who doesn't follow those rules.
Yeah. Right. And to me, it's so funny, like having the spiritual awakenings that I've had throughout the years. I have a conversation with my father who's very much so like, critical of what I believe in my practices and stuff like that, but also the trans community. And I've had the gay debates with him, and I've sat there and I've schooled, because I've asked him, I've looked at him and I've been like, okay, so you're very Catholic, and he'll be like, yeah, okay, so you believe that we have a soul? Yes. Do you believe that the soul has a gender? No. Okay, so the soul is the essence of us, correct? Yes. Okay, so then how does it make sense if you believe that we all have a soul and that's your religion, like that's what you believe, then how does it make sense that this soul loves this soul and that this soul recognizes that that soul is, it doesn't matter, like beyond the body is just spirit. So if I'm a woman and I'm in love with a woman, according to spirit, that doesn't matter anyway because it doesn't exist in the spirit realm. So like when you bring it to them, they're like, and it's like, yeah, because you've been taught.
Yes, that's it.
You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
You've been breadcrumbed.
Yeah.
So I, you know.
And it's hard, like for somebody of that age who their entire life has been pounded into their head that this is how it is. And, you know, it's hard. It's just hard for them to like see it any other way because I do think that for Catholics or Christians, whoever believes in, you know, that God only likes certain people, that is a fear of going to hell. It's a real fear for them, you know, that they're going to spend eternity in hell.
Yeah.
So, and I think also it's hard when you like, you know what you know.
Yes.
Right? You know what you know.
Yeah.
I have yet to meet a religious person who knows what they, you know, it's like, I know this because it says it in the Bible.
Because it was told.
It's not, I just know this.
Right.
You know, because anybody who pays attention to their intuition, whatever, there's just certain shit, you know what you know, and nobody can tell you different.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, the whole thing for me, I just wish, you know, a lot of religious people are gonna be angry, but I just wish there wasn't organized religion.
Same.
I just wish there wasn't.
I think because it's all, and again, all the things that this episode is just going to be all the shit that Fran has taught me throughout the years. All the religions are connected, you know, like if you strip away the structure of all of them, it's literally all the same shit.
Yeah.
And so there'd be a lot less fighting. There'd be a lot less political unrest. There'd be a lot less bullshit if we just stripped it all, the constructs of it. I have a question though. Do you ever, and this is just my curiosity, do you ever still, like, even with all the things that you've experienced, do you ever still question where we go when we die, or like what happens, or you're at the point where you don't? Okay, give it to me then. Why?
No. Only because I've spoken to like so many people from the other side.
Yeah.
And they all say the same thing.
What do they say?
For actually my nephew, who was just, I felt his excitement of how the energy, you can manipulate energy, and how everything is just nothing but love. You know, and it's hard to imagine when you're in the human body.
Yeah. Never
having judgment, never having fear, just constantly in a state of love. You know, I do know, I had a little boy come to me one time. I don't know if I told you that story. Did I tell you that story about the little boy?
I think you might have, yeah.
That's when I realized, that's when it clicked in my head, because he was terrified. His mother, his brother, his sister did not want to cross over because they were terrified of the father. And I did in that moment, because this was all like a little bit much for me, because it was a little boy, you know, and the father killed them all. I did. I was like, Jesus, like, you gotta give me the words, because I don't know what to do with this. And I literally saw, which is what I think the Bible calls purgatory, is in reality, it's when we cross over, and we do have a moment where we have to actually feel the pain we've caused others, you know? So that to me in that moment, that's how I took it, is, oh, so this is what the Bible is talking about. It's that, so, because you have to go through that. You have to, I'm not sure why, because I've never really asked why about that. I should though. I should do that. But that's where the father was. And I saw it as, the way I saw it was the father. And it was almost like he was, I don't know, there was like energy walls, like here, and his rest of his family was here. And he couldn't get to them until he actually felt everything that he did.
Damn.
So, and that's what I told them. I told the little boy, tell your mom, that dad's not gonna go where they're going, but they need to go, but he's not gonna go there.
That's literally my next question. Do you believe in a hell? And if so, what do you think it is?
I don't believe in a hell.
Neither do I.
But I do think if that's our belief system, and if that's where we really believe we're gonna go, because I've seen like videos of people, near-death experiences, and they say they went to hell, and I don't feel it. I don't. But I think for some people, like when you die, I know your loved ones come for you. They're there. They're there. But if you're in that state of fear, and I was a shitty person and I'm going to hell, I think that's what you're going to see. Don't think you could see the light if you're stuck in the dark.
Yes.
And if you don't want to see the light.
But
I do think, I know they're there. I know every time somebody passes, yep, they just all come in, they're there for you to help you cross over, make sense of it, the whole bit. But yeah, if you're stuck in the dark, and you don't want to see the light, you're not going to see the light. So I think some people may experience that.
Yeah.
I don't know like how long you would stay in that state, if I'm right.
I think you are, because I have that same feeling.
Do you?
When people ask me like, and I still grapple with it to this day. Like, what if I'm wrong? Like I'm very skeptical. I had a moment of years where I became a complete like atheist, and I was just like, we go nowhere when we die. Like I just completely lost my faith for a couple of years. So that's still in there for me. But when people ask, I kind of say the same thing. Like the way I put it is like, we're all, whether we're here on this physical plane or in another dimension, I think that everything is frequency, and whatever frequency you're vibrating at, or your soul is vibrating at, it's going to match that when you die.
Yeah.
The dimension that you go to. I
agree.
And so if you're and again, doing shitty things to people and being a shitty person does make you low vibe, So, I mean, but then also there's that, because when you do shitty things to people and you don't give a fuck about people, and you don't lead with the heart, you're operating from all ego, but like also comes the guilt. And guilt is not a high vibe emotion at all. And so when you die, you bring that with you, and it's kind of like you create your own hell. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Because I have never, like anybody that has ever come to me from the other side, it's always just this happy, like loving, it's always just, which is probably why I love doing that too, is because of how the energy that I feel. It's just like, it's like total bliss, Yeah.
It's
just total bliss.
Okay. This is a good question. I don't think I've ever asked you this. So like years ago, I was a little chicken shit. Like I was afraid of my own shadow, like when I was younger. And I remember you always telling me like, just stop. Like I was always afraid. I was afraid to call. I remember you telling me calling Archangel Michael, and I was like, I'm scared. Like, I
know.
So like I was just afraid of it all. And so as I got older, like I realized what you tell them to do, that's what you ask them, they have to like really respect you, So I always said, if y'all are gonna, because I always felt shit, if y'all are gonna come to me, just come in dreams, like, because I'll be able to handle it.
Yes.
So I've had many, that's how I was. My grandmother passed away in March. And actually the day before your birthday, I'm just realizing that she passed away. I had a series of dreams weeks before that showed me how she was going to pass. Once she passed, I had dreams about her, and it was fine. But throughout the years, I've realized there's a place, and I don't know if you've been here either, probably an in-between place where you can meet them. And there's and so anytime I've met anybody who's passed in this in-between place, I'm telling you right now, it's like a vacation. It's like a home away from home vacation. There's water, there's like docks, how I see it. There's restaurants and ice cream parlors. And every single time, like you said, I see somebody who's passed in my life, unless they have that guilt still, and then they can't move on to the happy place. Anytime I've seen somebody who's crossed over, they're just like, woohoo! Like,
yes,
this is the best thing ever,
Yes. And I think the shame of it, well, maybe it's not a shame, but I wish like we could remember, like before we come in, like we could remember what it was like when we were over there.
Yeah.
But I guess, if we did, then we wouldn't be here long,
Yeah. Yeah.
We'd be like, sorry, I'm out and going back.
Right. Like, what's the point?
Yeah. But yeah, to me, it's, I'm not afraid of going, because I know like what's there, it's just going to be, it's just awesome over there. I think the weird thing is like how you go, for me anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm okay with dying. I just, can I just like do it in an easy way?
Right. Can I just go in my sleep?
Yeah, something like that. But which I also think that is planned also, because I do think we come in with just certain shit that's just set.
Like soul contracts, you think? You do?
Absolutely.
I should have never no, I'm just kidding. Actually, whatever.
Well, it's funny because me and Fran, Franny, right?
Yeah.
We always used to say that, we must have been doing drugs when we made out our plan, because like, what the hell?
Why would I sign for that?
Yes, but see, that's another reason why I think organized religion just screws us over, is if you knew, like, okay, I came in to experience this, to get this lesson, so my soul will grow. Simple. Instead of God's punishing you because you didn't go to church, or you didn't give the church enough money, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or God's punishing you because you're gay, or God's punishing you because you had an abortion, or God's punishing you for whatever.
Right. Because
yeah, because you ate meat on Friday. So, if we were just all taught that at a very young age, that everything that, and well, I shouldn't say everything. I think we do create a lot of our own shit also.
Oh, yeah.
But if you pay attention to, if you were in the state of going with the flow, and shit hits you out of nowhere, then you'll know, okay, you got to take a step back. Did I bring this shit in? What did I do to create this? Or what lesson am I supposed to be getting from this, and get it and move on to the next thing?
Yeah.
But we're not taught that shit.
No.
Because that's all that is. That's really all that is.
We're taught to blame things outside of ourselves, and like a lot of spiritually, like for like you again, this, but what I've learned in my own experience is a lot of my awakenings had to come when I fucking took accountability for my shit, and I still have to take accountability for my shit, right? None of us want to do that.
No, we don't.
Like, there's probably somebody listening right now that's like, are they kidding? Like, I didn't ask for this. And it's like, no, you may not have in the waking life, but before you
but
came here,
beforehand.
yeah, you did.
Either that or you created it from your own thought patterns now, you
Yeah.
know, so yeah, it's a lot though. It is.
Yeah. Oh my
It's a
God.
lot when you think about it.
Yeah.
But I remember, God, there was this woman that I used to work with. And one of the guys who worked there had addictions. And, you know, he got clean and everything. And this woman she used to play Christian music, you know, at work. Which, you know, if that's what makes you happy, fine, but not everybody's on that page. But anyway,
That's funny.
so he picked up and he started doing drugs again. And she said to me, she's like, Satan got a hold of him. This is all Satan. Satan did this. I'm like, well, why are you blaming Satan? Like, why isn't he responsible for him doing it? You know what I mean? He's the one who picked up, you know. She's like, oh no, Satan got his claws in him. And it's just like, okay, so if everything bad is Satan's fault, so we're not responsible for anything?
Right.
So we're not responsible for making bad choices. So what does that mean? Should there not be a consequence for our bad choices because Satan made us do it? You know, it's just like that whole thing is so weird to me.
Cop out.
I don't get it. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
But that's the thing. And like, even for me, you know, there are some people who probably think I'm gay because Satan got a hold of me, right? Well, then why yell at me? Yell at Satan. Like, why am I the bad?
Exactly. Why are you being punished?
Right. Why do you hate me? You got a hold of me. I had no fucking control over it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's very, not condescending, contradictory. You know, it's like, well, which one is it? Is it I'm bad because I'm gay, or is it I'm just an innocent bystander who was
Bystander. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, make up your mind.
At the end of the day, the two can not that that's all bullshit. But like the idea of free will and predetermined destiny, and they can exist in the same life.
Yeah.
And I think that was hard for me to come to terms with too. Like at times I'm like, okay, well, if I have free will and like everything is free will and I have choices, then like you almost get to, you ever hear of nihilism, where it's like nothing fucking matters then? Like there's no purpose to anything and nothing matters.
Yeah, yeah.
I had gotten to that point. I mean, I was in a deep depression, but I'd gotten to that point and the light had been like snuffed out. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, okay, I chose this. So then nothing fucking matters. And like, I'm not supposed to, there's no such thing as fate. It's like, no, you kind of, you know what, you could probably, how would you explain the two? Like, how would you say it? Like free will and fate and free will and destiny, like how would you put them together?
Someone had explained it to me as analogy of you build your house, right? Your house is pre-built.
Yeah.
It's firm, the foundation's strong, nothing will move. Everything is the way it's supposed to be. Then you come in and you put up curtains, you know, you put a chair here or a chair there. It was explained to me like that. So it's kind of like, okay, so the basic outline is there. We wrote the basic outline, and there is a lot of room for free will.
I love that.
Because there has to be, you know, so I really truly believe like everything we do, every small action, every small, whatever, how small it is, sends a ripple. And you got two choices. You send a positive ripple or you send a negative ripple, you know, and we all send negative ripples, and we do. I mean, God, I've given people the finger on the highway, you know what I mean? Like we all do, you know, but I think that's how it is. So we can put shitty curtains in our home, or we can put pretty curtains in our home. That's our free will. We have that free will, but our house is built. Before we come in, incarnate, we build our house over there.
Right.
And
so
that's
like,
it.
Like if your I get that. Like if your purpose is to, I don't know, fucking heal people, you'll get there in some form or fashion,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of choose it. If you're meant to marry this person, do you believe that too? Do you believe that we're meant to,
I think we choose before we come down.
who we're gonna be with?
Oh, absolutely. Who we're gonna be with and the reasons why, it's like, all right, so that's why, like, you can't hate the people who screw you over, because they've
Yeah.
played a part in your life for a reason.
Yeah.
And we get all caught up in the hurt feelings and the, whatever, but they chose to come and play the bastard in your life, so, or the bitch,
Right.
so you have to kind of say, well, thank you, because now I got that lesson. So
Yeah.
thank you, because you're helping me now move along. And that I really truly believe that. I think we choose our children. I think our children, like we sit there with our kids and are like, okay, yeah, I'll take you. You give me this lesson, I'll give you that lesson. I do. I
Yeah.
think all of that is, we
Predetermined.
decide before we come in.
I think so too. And going back to what you said about the bastards and bitches in our lives, like
Yeah.
I always, and again, you have to have a level, I think, of self-reflection as well. Like you have to
Oh God, yeah.
there's an openness that you need to approach this shit with. If you're just like, everybody has done shit to me and I am the victim in my life and whatever, you're never gonna learn why those people had to step in or do that, really royally fuck you over. I've looked back at my relationships and one of my most tumultuous ones, and I've thought to myself, as angry as I've been with her, and as much as I look at her now and I have love for her, but I look at her and I more so feel bad because it's like, okay, you have lessons to learn you still haven't learned, and that's on you, right? It's more of that sort of, oh, I'm so sorry. I can understand why she came into my life and had to literally shake my entire shit to the core.
Mm-hmm.
It was a move, like it had to happen that way, like to move me in a certain direction. I wouldn't be here, even that I wouldn't be here today without that experience. So I think you're 100%, you're always fucking right with this shit.
Well, no, I'm really not. But I know for me, and I started this like a long time ago, when I realized that people are in your life for a reason, no matter what. And when I would have, a really shitty whatever relationship with someone, I would write. And I would write, like, first it would be like the angry, like, blah, 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 they did this, da, 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 all that shit. And then the second part of it, once you get all that out, is okay.
Yeah.
So what about this did I learn? What do I now know about me that I didn't know before this person fucked me over or screwed me? Sorry.
No, curse away, girl. Curse away.
That's what helped me. But that always helps me, writing shit down like that. And I started making it a habit of, whenever I got pissed off at somebody, when somebody would do something, I would always like have to take a step back and say, okay, like, exactly why is it pissing me off? Are they reflecting me back to me?
Yeah.
Like, oh shit.
Yes.
Like, it's, you have those oh shit moments, like, oh God, yeah, I've been petty, like they're being petty right now, or stupid shit like that. But when something hits you like that, when something is just like irks you, or you don't even know why, you have to take a step back and look at it. And most of the time, well, actually for me, it's because they're just reflecting back to me a part of me that I don't want to look at. I don't want to acknowledge.
It's a mirror.
But it's there.
Yeah.
And you have to accept the shadow and the light, like we all do, because we've all got it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
of course.
I really think that everybody we meet, every situation we're in is just, there's a reason and there's something good to get from it. And I was talking to Richie about like the whole COVID, like when we had the lockdown and everything. I mean, outside of the whole politics of all of it, I think on a spiritual level, that was for people to say, you know what? I like working from home. Or, you know what? I'm glad I don't have to go to that job. I hate that freaking job. Let me
Yeah.
find something else. It was all about that whole thing being restructured and people realizing, so wait a second, I don't have to work at a job I literally hate, do 40
Yeah.
hours a week. I can do something else. It kind of pushed a lot of people to actually do what they
What they
want to
love.
do.
Yeah.
I was, and it's funny too, because, but I think I need to be, the universe really needs to push me to do everything because I don't, I
You're
talk a lot of shit,
you're
but
a
I don't
Pi-
do it.
you're a Pisces, that's why.
I hated Walgreens. I hated it. I hated dealing with the people and I literally hated it, the whole thing. My store manager was not a nice human. Um, and I was always aggravated and tired and stressed, and I didn't realize, which is another thing too, didn't realize how stressed I was till I didn't have to go back.
Mhm.
And you get so used to living with that kind of stress, it becomes the norm, and it shouldn't be the norm. It's just
No,
not the norm. It's not how we're supposed to function.
we're not supposed to function in fight or flight at
No,
all times, you know?
no.
And
And the way that whole thing happened too was, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off,
no, 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 don't be sorry.
because Richie had COVID. So he was home with COVID. So I was home taking care of him. And while I was home, I was like, you know what? Because for 2 years, I kept saying, I want out of this place. I hate it here. I want to work from home. Never really did anything about it though. And I just went on the computer, looked up, work at home, tech, pharmacy techs, put an application in. Next day, I got a phone call.
See, and that's another thing too. I think the universe rewards you when you do take that action. So like I feel like you doing this even, right? And like kind of breaking that little fear
That
barrier.
fear.
Yeah. I think like you're gonna text me in a couple of days and you're gonna be like, holy shit, you'll never guess what happened. And some sort of like manifestation or something is just gonna like, I just have a feeling because
Well, those cards, and I don't remember what the spread looked like. It's probably in my
I
phone
have
now.
it. I have
Remember,
it.
I sent you that spread? That was a good spread.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it was like, but if you think about it, like this shouldn't be that much of a big deal. But I had to flip cards on it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know what? Everybody's got their own
Shit. Yeah.
shit, and like it could even, like you said, it could even go back to like past life shit for whatever fucking reason.
I really think it is. I do.
You do.
Because I've been, I come out of the spiritual closet with certain people,
Yeah. You were
like
probably like
burned at the stake or
burned at the
something.
stake. Yeah.
Probably.
Right. You were definitely, a lot of women have that, like that fear of telling people. Even me, I'm like I'm afraid to tell certain people, like what people are going to say about me reading tarot and whatever.
Mhm.
Because of that, yeah, that fucking stigma. But you were definitely burned for sure. 100%.
Probably.
You and Danielle, probably.
Yeah, I think she was too.
Y'all were probably sisters in a past, whatever it was, y'all burned together, mother and daughter in a past life, that like y'all were conjuring something up.
Something.
And got caught.
We're in the middle of the woods with the cauldron.
Right. Like doing a chant and a fucking jig in the woods.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think,
Yeah, it's just weird, it's weird that because it's something that I've always been drawn to, and it's something that I love, but at the same time, I don't want people to know. It's like,
Right.
it's just a weird kind of, yeah, oops.
Cat's out of the bag now.
But yeah, I don't know. I should, I'm gonna have you flip on that one day.
I will.
Where that fear comes from.
I want to know now on my own curiosity. But I genuinely, you have to be back, because I've taken a lot of your time now, but I need.
Oh, that's fine.
I need to do more.
I've enjoyed this immensely.
So have I. I mean, literally, like I said, going back to the beginning, we always did this, even when I was 16, 17.
Yes, we did. We discussed everything. you know, a little bit of everything, broke everything down and, you know.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
decided
I
how
know-
life should be.
Right. And you and I could do this for fucking 4, like we've done it for 3 hours at a time. And it's like, oh
Yeah.
shit, where, but
Wait, what time is it anyway?
right now it is 3:30 here. It's 3:30 here.
So it's 12:30. Okay. So we haven't been really, what,
An hour.
an hour? Yeah, it's not,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like an hour
No, it doesn't. It
at
doesn't.
all, but yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I have no problem doing this again
Yes.
because there's so much to talk about.
Yo, no.
There really is.
Even if you friggin' come on once a month, like, and we just shoot the shit like this,
Yeah.
and, like what's going on in the world, this has
Yeah.
probably been the most stimulating conversation I've had in a very long time with like a
Yeah.
guest, you know, like I'm just,
Oh, I'm a guest. I feel so
You
important
are.
right now.
you're a guest. Here you are.
Oh, shit.
But seriously, thank you. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, thank you, because, yeah, you're helping me big time.
Well, and the card said it. The card said that we would help each other.
Yes, they did.
We would work
Yes, they
together.
did.
Yeah.
That's right. So I have to do my mediumship and you have to do your card.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe next time I'll try to connect and you do a reading.
Okay. I'm totally
If that's
down.
what we're being pushed to do.
I'm a little scared, but I'm totally down.
So am I, but you know, we got to go with the flow.
You gotta face the fear. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I love the shit out of you. Thank you.
I love you too, honey. I
And
do.
We will talk soon.
Yes.
I'm gonna send this to you. You watch it back. You let me know. So enjoy. Thank you so
I'm gonna
much.
have to send it to Danny because she was like, you better call me the minute you're done with Tori.
If you want, I can cut this part out, but if you want, I'll send it to her I'll send her the raw version of it.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Love you, baby. You
I
take
love
it
you.
easy.
You too.
All right. Bye, hon.
Bye.